Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dude with a Fork. My name is Ken. I hope you're all doing well. On today's episode of Ken Cooks Stuff, I have been trying various beef barley soups or some variation of beef and vegetable soup, and I thought, it's time to make my own because it's not a difficult soup to make. I have tried to streamline this as much as possible so you don't have to chop any vegetables. It's basically just adding things to a saucepan. It's really super simple. It's really delicious. Once you get past the ground beef, you could probably throw it all in a slow cooker. Something I'll experiment with down the road. But yeah, let's get started by taking a look at our ingredients. All right, the ingredients for this are really simple. Here is that 3/4 of a pound of ground beef I think I mentioned in an earlier video. Here's a package of mixed vegetables, and this is carrots, green beans, super sweet corn, and peas. You can use any frozen vegetables you like. I was hoping to find the bag with potatoes and lima beans in there because I love lima beans, but they didn't have that. So this is a 12-ounce bag. We're going to use exactly half of that, but we don't need this for half an hour, so this is going to go back in the freezer for a bit. Here I have half a cup of pearled barley. This is not super expensive food. I buy a 1-pound bag, and it usually lasts me about halfway through the winter. Here I have 2 tablespoons of dried minced onion. I'm trying to do this so you don't even have to chop up an onion. And I also have a bay leaf for some extra flavor, which is optional. I just like the flavor that it adds. We also need some beef broth. You have a couple of options there. What I'm going to go with, you can buy beef broth in a can or one of those boxes, but I'm going to use Better Than Bouillon roasted beef base. This is the reduced sodium version. It is organic. I buy this at Costco. This whole big jar it was $9. And this will last me the better part of a year. So this is one version. If you don't have that, you can also go with this beef bouillon powder or bouillon cubes. Keep in mind this is a little bit higher in sodium. So, but the choice is yours. Or you can get beef broth out of a can. So my first step here is to get this ground beef browned up. So you've seen people cook ground beef. So I'm going to go over to the stove and do that. And I'll meet you over there once this is done. See you in a bit. All right, so you can see here I've cooked up this ground beef pretty well. That's not fat in the bottom of the pan. That's a lot of the liquid that has come out of the beef. And normally when people drain, they say they drain the fat, they're draining a lot of that water. It just takes time to get it out of there. I'm going to use that water to soak up these dried onions. I'm going to use that water to rehydrate these minced onions and let them soak up some of that water. And we'll continue to cook. And this beef is not really super fatty, so I'm not real worried about draining the fat out of there. Now we need our beef base. And I have 2 teaspoons here because I'm going to go in 2 cups at a time. We're going to do this in stages. I'm going to do 2 cups of broth here first. And this is easier just to get mixed into the beef without adding any liquid first. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a really, really good stir and just get that incorporated. The problem with this beef broth is it does not, with this beef base, it does not make things real brown. There's our bay leaf, so I just like that flavor, and there's our barley. So there are things like kitchen bouquet that you could add if you want to give this a browner color. So there's our first 2 cups of water. So we've got our beef, our minced onion, our bay leaf, our beef base, plus our 2 cups of water that gives us our initial 2 cups of beef broth. So just going to let that come to a boil real quick. And then we'll come back and take a look at it in a bit and see where we are. All right, so it's been about 20-25 minutes. This lid is hot, so I'm using my new oven mitt I bought at the $1.25 store. Yeah, I forgot to set a timer. I can tell just by looking at it that barley is not cooked all the way because it's a little too opaque. But I'm going to test a piece here just in case I'm wrong. But yeah, it's still chewy in the center. I'm also going to take out that bay leaf now. I'm not quite sure why. It's easy to find now. I could have left it in. That's fine. Now we need our other 2 cups of beef broth. This is not as brown as I would like it, so I'm going to use the beef bouillon powder I showed you earlier because it has caramel color in it, like the kitchen bouquet. And it will make things brown. So there it goes in, because we expect things with beef in the title to be brown. So yeah, it's caramel color, I think. Yeah, right there. It says caramel color. So we're gonna get that mixed in. It's easier to mix dry things in like that before you add a lot of liquid, then you tend not to get lumps. So I'm gonna go in with our other 2 cups of water. If you are using broth from the can or that weird plastic layered box, it's 4 cups total. We're just going to give this a good stir, and I will bring this back up to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer, and then we'll get our vegetables in just a little bit. I think I'm using a cup of these vegetables. So, yeah, see, those are blanched. They're not cooked all the way. They're just blanched, so they do need some cooking. But yeah, we'll be back in a little bit and take a look at this. All right, so I have this back up at a simmer, and I'll go in with my frozen vegetables. And the reason I don't just add the vegetables and then bring everything up to a simmer after I add the broth is I don't want to spend a lot of too much time changing this temperature back and forth all the time. So it takes too long for this to get going again. So I'm going to let this sit here and simmer for probably about 15 minutes. How long it takes depends on how well done you like your vegetables. I like the vegetables to be a bit tender because there are green beans in here, and I find that those frozen green beans sometimes are a little bit tough. I could have added the whole bag, it seems like. But the main point of this is the beef and the barley. So I am going to let this cook, and then I will meet you over at the table where we are tasting this. See you in a little bit. Oh, wait, I forget. I'm also going to add just about half a teaspoon of pepper. Not totally required, but I like pepper with beef. Beef and pepper seems to go together. So there we go. Totally optional step, but I want the pepper to cook in there with that a little bit. So see you at the table with a bowl of this. And there we go. Oh, this is just amazing. Now, like I said, the focus on this is the beef and the barley. But look at this. This looks so much better than any of those things that I got out of a can. And I've got about $3 in meat and maybe $1 in the vegetables and the barley. So yeah, if this made 4 servings, this is like the equivalent $4. 4 cans of cheap beef barley vegetable soup at $1 a piece. It comes out the same. But look how much more food you get. So you could use less meat. You could use more vegetables, however you want to do it. But yeah, I want to get a little taste of everything here. And you know what would be really good in this? I do have a slice of buttered bread here because you want to be able to get in there and soak up some of those juices. But what would be really good in here is a shot of Worcestershire sauce. But I forgot to do that. It's not part of the recipe. You don't need to do it. But anyway. Oh, that is so amazing. Those frozen vegetables are so good. Now, if you just have canned vegetables, just throw the can in at the very last moment, and just heat it until they're just continue to simmer until they're cooked all the way through. But yeah, these frozen vegetables need a little bit of time to cook. They're only blanched. They're not really cooked. So, but look at this. Look at that. That is just so amazing, and it tastes good. Now, of course, we're making this with ground beef because that's cheap, and that is often something that you can find on sale. You know, if you had some leftover stew meat or something, leftover roast beef, yeah, use that in here. But yeah, oh my gosh. That is so good. Of course, bread and soup just go together. So I'm just going to get in here. Oh, I didn't mean to mess you up, buddy. There you go. I just wanted to tear a piece off. So, yeah. So, I am making this on a Saturday, and I have to go into the office on Monday, and this is going to be my lunch, and I'm looking forward to that. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, it's so good. And about the same price as 4 cans of really not great beef and vegetable barley soup. So, I will put a link on my website or a link on this show notes to this. Look that way in the description, and I'll put a link to the recipe on my website, even though really it's more like a guide rather than a recipe. But if you want an exact recipe to follow, you'll have that. But yeah, oh, this is so good. And that's it, folks. As always, thank you so much for watching. Links to free printable copies of any recipes here are down below in the show notes. Please like, comment, or if you'd like to see more of this kind of material, subscribe. As always, please stay safe, eat great food, and power to the proletariat. We'll see you next time.